Hello, welcome to Aging Well in America. I'm Marie Gattari, your host. Today we have with us a special guest, Kelly Pryce, from the Alzheimer's Association here in the southeastern Michigan area. Welcome, Kelly. Thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
We're excited to talk about a pilot program that is going on at the moment, in entering its second of 3 years.
Yes.
Is that correct? In Macomb County.
Yes.
Now, before we get too far into it, I just want to have you clarify who's eligible for this program. You don't necessarily, both the family and the loved one do not have to both live in Macomb County as long as one of the parties.
So either the person who's caring for the person or the person with the diagnosis has to live in Macomb County.
Okay.
So either or.
Okay, so we have a lot of families that do have loved ones, or the adult child might live here in the Grosse Pointe communities, and their parent or grandparent or aunt or uncle may live in Macomb County. So they would be eligible for this, for these services, this program.
Yes, exactly.
So let's start with the beginning, the name of it.
Okay, the name of the program is the Michigan Dementia Care and Support Program, or we call it MDCSP for short.
Okay, so I think for our viewers it's easier to remember Dementia Care and Support.
Yes.
And that's exactly what it's for, right?
Exactly.
So tell us a little bit about how it works and how people can go about receiving the services.
Yeah, so I mean the main purpose of the program is just to provide additional education and support for family members and caregivers of someone with a dementia diagnosis. So that can be any type of dementia, Alzheimer's, Lewy body. Even if their dementia is unspecified, there's no specific diagnosis, they could still be a qualifier for the program.
So they don't need to have had a doctor's diagnosis.
The doctor has to say at least dementia. They have some type of dementia, but it doesn't have to be a specific dementia diagnosis.
I understand. Okay. Okay, and the services are what? What happens?
So the program always starts with an assessment. We go out to the home, we assess both the caregiver and the person with the disease.
Now again, when we speak of the caregiver, we could be talking about an adult child who is helping to care for mom and dad.
Exactly.
Okay.
An adult child, a family friend, a niece or nephew, anyone who's helping in the care for the person with the diagnosis.
Okay, and what kind of help or support do you provide to that person?
Yeah, so a lot of what we do includes education about the disease. People ask a lot about what are the stages, what can I expect next. So we'll do some in-home education about that. We'll help families link to resources in the community. So giving them referrals to in-home care if they need assistance with respite, they're looking into an adult day program. If families need help with some of the legal aspects, coming up with power of attorney or guardianship, we can help them connect to those kinds of resources and give them the referrals that they need to accomplish some of those things.
So I'm assuming your resource list must be quite lengthy.
We have a lot of resources, and we kind of tailor it to each family. So whenever someone has a request, we'll still go out, we'll do the research for them, so it kind of lessens the burden on the family member.
Sure. So you actually make phone calls for the family member?
Yeah, so we like to empower families to do whatever they can for themselves, but we understand that the disease can be very stressful. There's a lot of things going on. You don't always know where to begin.
Sure.
So we'll definitely call on behalf of the family, ask the questions, get them the things that they need, and then bring it back to the families at our next meeting.
Yeah. You had mentioned earlier, Kelly, that your primary responsibility is to go into people's, the families' homes, and excuse me, do an assessment, and then go from there. So tell me what your day looks like.
So yeah, I mean, depending on how many visits I have scheduled for the day, I always schedule the visits as far out as I can, depending on what the families need. Sometimes they need a visit, right away, and that's totally okay if they call and say, hey, I need you to come out at the end of this week. Is it possible? If we're able to make it happen, we will. So we go out to the home. We'll start with the assessment. Usually it takes about an hour to an hour and a half to complete all the questions. It basically gets a background on the person with the disease, kind of how long they've been diagnosed, what are some symptoms that you've been noticing, some of the concerns that the person might have. And then we go with the caregiver and we kind of assess what's their stress level like. Are they feeling depressed? Are they feeling anxious? What are some of their needs? Because we want to make sure that this program is not only for the person with dementia, but it's also for the caregivers so that they have the support that they need to cope and the skills that they need to be the best caregiver that they can be for their loved one.
Yeah. Do you find that a lot of the family caregivers, that, I mean, that's not what they're doing full-time, they're trying to continue their own lives, jobs, their own families. Do you find that that's a big part of what the issue, the conflict might be?
And I think I would say at least half of our participants in the program are caregivers or daughters, sons who are still working full-time, who still have children to care for of their own, so they're not able to be there 24/7. So it's hard for them to contact these resources, to ask the questions. They're not even sure what they can put in place to help their mom or dad while they're at work. So I find that that's usually the most challenging, is trying to figure out something, because they already they have their own lives to handle as well.
Sure. So do you bring them back a report or a list of recommendations, or what do they receive after your initial assessment?
So after that assessment, I go back to the office and kind of write down all the things they said that they needed. We then schedule a follow-up appointment, and we call it the care plan meeting.
Oh,
so during that care plan meeting, we kind of go over everything we discussed at the assessment, and then kind of, I would say, narrow it down to some of their most pressing needs. And we come up with a care plan together of what their goals are, what are they looking for, and then how soon we want to get those things done.
Okay.
So each person's care plan is going to look a little bit different.
Sure, sure. So this is a pilot program that was started in Macomb County a year ago, almost exactly,
Yep,
right?
almost exactly a year ago.
You're entering year 2, and the funding is for 3 years.
Yes.
So the pilot program you had mentioned is started in Macomb County because that's where the support was from the community leaders.
Exactly.
Which makes sense, but the hope is for the Alzheimer's Association to expand it to other counties.
Exactly. I mean, we love working in Macomb County. We've had a lot of success in that area, but we would love to be able to bring this program to other counties in the area.
Okay.
So, of course, the more success we have in Macomb County, the more likely it is that we can bring it to other areas in Michigan.
Sure. And right now, your census, as we call it, the number of people you're serving is in the 20s, 30s?
Right now, yeah, between 20 and 30 clients at this time.
And that's about the capacity of the pilot?
We would love to increase, those numbers.
You would?
If we can. So right now, as soon as referrals come in, we're still able to take them on the caseload.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
There are other programs. You'd mentioned the Wraparound Program, which is similar in some ways and does reach into Wayne County and some of the other outlying regions in the southeastern Michigan. So tell us a little bit about the Wraparound Program.
So the Wraparound Program is very similar. That program is in Macomb, Wayne, and Oakland County. So participants can have either a caregiver or a person with dementia in one of those counties. The requirements are about the same. The person still has to have a diagnosis. This time I think you have to have an actual written diagnosis from the doctor saying they have dementia.
Okay.
The person must be experiencing some sort of challenges caring for the person in the home.
Okay.
So whether that's with difficult behaviors or coming up with a care plan as far as what do we do next, planning for the future, there has to be some sort of challenge involved.
Okay.
But that program as well, the care counselor will go out into the home and provide the services.
So the Alzheimer's, when you say the care counselor provides the services, explain that a little bit, because I think some families might think that you're actually there to do the hands-on care, and that's not the case, if I understand.
So what a care counselor does, we have care counselors throughout the entire agency. Most of what we do is providing education and support. So we'll be the person you'll call when you have questions, when you have concerns, when you need resources. We'll be the person to kind of help you link to those community resources. We'll provide counseling to families. We'll do family meetings. Really, it's going to be giving you that extra support system that you need as a person caring for a loved one with a disease.
Yeah. I have found both in my own personal experience, because my mother had dementia toward the end of her life, and I have a lot of siblings. And then also in the cases that we have professionally through Brightstar, that it's not uncommon for families who are facing this situation that is so difficult for the adult children, the siblings, to not always agree on the direction to go. And this was very true in my own family with my sisters. Is that a role that you can, kind of the mediator role, that you can help guide families and maybe help them alleviate some of that additional stress and conflict?
Yeah, exactly. We do that with the Michigan Dementia Care and Support Program, but also with our in-office care consultations. So if someone calls and says, hey, my mom has my mom has a diagnosis. My sister and I aren't quite agreeing. Can we come in and meet with someone? We'll definitely set up a meeting with the family members, and then as a care counselor, we're kind of neutral. We kind of give them the facts. We kind of tell them what to expect,
Sure.
and then help them kind of go through how can we come to some kind of agreement in caring for our mom. Because at the end of the day, both family members want the best for their loved one.
Sure.
They both want them to be safe. They both want them to be taken care of. So we just kind of help them, guide them through that process.
Right.
Yeah.
You talked about care counselors at the Alzheimer's Association. That's a really important aspect of what the Alzheimer's Association does here in our community, care counseling. Talk a little bit about that and the different programs that care counseling touches.
Yeah, so for the program that I'm here to talk about, and then with the Wraparound Program, the care counselor actually goes out to the home to meet with families on a regular basis to kind of help them decide what comes next, how to plan for the future, offering that support, doing some in-home counseling. We also have a program where you can come out to the office and meet with a care counselor. That's all done by appointment. You call into our 1-800 number, set up an appointment with a social worker, and then we'll meet with you to kind of discuss whatever your needs are. Every one of those programs starts with an assessment, and then from there we create a care plan moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kelly, you have a very interesting background. You came to this work. You're a young woman, and you came to this work, I'm assuming, through some personal experience and some passion. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got here. A master's degree in social work from the University of Michigan.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
no small feat. The Alzheimer's Association, I'm sure, is very happy and fortunate to have you. So tell us how you came to dedicate your professional life to this field.
I always start by talking about how when I was in high school, I got a job as a waitress at an assisted living facility.
As a waitress?
As a waitress.
In the assisted living?
So I would go into the
in their
dining
kitchen
room,
or their dining
take their
room?
orders,
I see.
give them their meals.
Nice.
But then you build such a good relationship with the people there. And when I got to grad school, I was kind of like, you know what, I really like this. I really like this work. I like working with the elderly. One, they have such interesting stories. It's always nice to learn something, get something out of it. But at the same time, I saw that a lot of people kind of neglect that population. They don't always give them what they need, or they kind of tend to push them to the side. And so I was kind of like, you know what, somebody needs to be advocating for this group of people. And so when I graduated, I started working at the Detroit Area Agency on Aging as a case manager there. I was there for a couple years, absolutely loved it. And really got interested in working with dementia and Alzheimer's patients, and that's why I ended up here at the association.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Area Agency on Aging is also a very important resource, and there is, again, a specific chapter for Detroit residents and Wayne County residents, and then there's another chapter for Macomb and Oakland County. So tell us a little bit about that, since you bring that expertise.
So the Detroit Area Agency on Aging covers all of Detroit, the Grosse Pointes, Highland Park, and Harper Woods. And then there's also the Area on Aging 1B, which covers, I believe, Macomb County, Oakland County, and then there's Area on Agency, I can't think of it, Senior Solution, not Senior Solution, I'm sorry, Area on Agency 1C covers the Downriver, Wayne County area, I believe.
Okay, all right. And again, its purpose is to...
It's really to support seniors.
Yeah.
And they have a lot of programs that actually do provide that hands-on support that families need. So caregiving in the home, helping with things like bathing, dressing, household chores. They sometimes pay for adult daycare. They help with transportation. So really, I always tell people, after you come to us for the Alzheimer's part of it, always check with your area agency on aging, because they have so many services to offer and to assist families.
If you qualify, right, if you're eligible for these services, as you said, you could get this hands-on care through the area agency. So that is always a very good. I would recommend if you are dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's, the first call might be to the Alzheimer's Association, but always call area agency as well. And even if you're not dealing with Alzheimer's, but you still need some support services, area agency is a really good resource.
Exactly.
Yeah. The folks who answer the phone at both of these entities really, I find, have been so helpful, so knowledgeable, and very, very compassionate.
Exactly. And sometimes even, I'm looking for resources and I can't find something, I'll call the local area on aging and say, hey, I'm looking for a service in this area. do you guys have any? Because even though we all have a lot of resource lists, there's always things that they have that we don't have. So it's always good for us to even double check and see what they have to offer as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about a family or two that the pilot has actually helped, and if you could give us some specific examples on how that went.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about one family in particular where the daughter wasn't a caregiver before. She was working full-time, kind of taking care of her own needs. And then earlier this year, she went to visit her mom, saw that things were kind of in disarray at her apartment. She wasn't being taken care of. She went to the doctor, found out, oh, she has dementia. She'd been diagnosed a while ago, but nobody really knew what had happened. And so she immediately moved her mom into her home, really jumped into it with both feet, had no idea where to begin. So she called us and said, look, my mom has dementia. I have no idea what to do. Can you guys help? So we immediately went out to the home, we did the assessment, and really for her it was a lot of education. She didn't know anything about the disease, didn't know kind of what to expect. She wasn't really sure what services were even out there. So a lot of it was just educating her on what to do, what's out there, what do you need. Because she was still working full-time, she really had to find a way to get support in the home. We're able to get an in-home caregiver, and also use an adult day program throughout the week, so she kind of does both to help provide care for the mom while she's at work. We're able to give her education classes. She's gone to a lot of our education programs. She's attended our Creating Confident Caregivers course. So she's really jumped in. She's learned a lot. And I would say right now she's very confident in what she's doing. She's always giving advice to the other caregivers at the daycare.
Oh, wonderful.
So just to see where she was a few months to go to where she is now is just kind of incredible.
Oh, that's great. How extensive is your work with these families throughout a period of time? I mean, are you in contact weekly, every couple of months? What's the cadence like?
I mean, I always find that in the beginning, families always need a lot more assistance. So when they first come into the program, I might talk to them every week, see them every week or every 2 weeks, until they get kind of stable. Once they're stabilized, they have some things in place, they feel more confident, we might back off to only once-a-month phone calls to see how things are going. But really, it's up to the family. If they need more assistance, they need someone in the home on a regular basis for us to come out and support them, we can do that. However, sometimes, once they feel stable, things are going pretty well, just call and check in.
So is there a period of time that they're pretty much allowed, if you will, to stay on the program, or does it end after? Does it end, or can it go on?
So right now, there's not really a time limit. I find that after about 6 or so months, families tend to be pretty stable, and we go down to that once-a-month phone call. However, as long as the family needs support, we're going to try and do what we can to be there for them. And if it's not with this program, we'll try with another one of our programs.
Yeah, so by being a care counselor, you are very knowledgeable on the other programs, like you said, the Wraparound. What are some of the other programs that the Alzheimer's Association has? Yeah,
so we offer a lot of education programs. We always have a list. If you ever call our 1-800 number, we can give you a list of all the programs that we offer. We have support groups in all the different counties in Michigan. So wherever you live or your loved one lives, we can always get you hooked up with a support group. I would say one of the one of the things people love about us is our 1-800 number. That's a 24-hour hotline, so you can always call with questions or concerns, looking for resources, and somebody will always be there to answer. So during the day, if you call between 8 and 5, or 8:30 and 5, you'll be connected to our local office in Southfield. We can give you all the local resources. But even if you call at 3 o'clock in the morning, you'll be connected with someone at our national office who can still answer your questions and provide you that support.
Really?
So sometimes families call because, I'm just struggling, it's late at night, my loved one's awake, I don't know what to do, I just need to talk. They can always call and there'll be someone on the other line to answer and speak with them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Just kind of taking a step back and looking at this disease in general, it's obviously getting a lot more attention as it should. Hopefully with that comes resources to be able to study it, and I know ultimately, the goal is to be able to treat it, and, wouldn't it be wonderful if there were a cure? Talk to us a little bit about what you see in terms of, or your hope for where our society is going, and how to care for people with this disease.
I think right now our biggest goal is just trying to get the word out. I think for a long time dementia was kind of brushed off as, oh, it's just old age, and even now we still hear that a lot with our families will go out to the doctor and they'll say, oh, she's just getting older, she's just forgetful, and not even give a real diagnosis. So I think for us, the biggest thing is
You mean doctors?
doctors.
So in that instance, you would recommend or advise the family to do what? To ask for an official
Yeah,
diagnosis?
so what we have families who call and they say, look, my doctor said this is going on, it's just old age, but I know something's wrong. I'm noticing these symptoms, and based on what they're noticing, it sounds like it could be, a type of dementia. So I always suggest, before you go to the doctor, write down everything that you're seeing. Write down the symptoms that you're noticing, the changes that you've seen, how long have you noticed the changes. So when you go to the doctor, you have something concrete to show them. And I also tell people if you can bring an advocate with you, another family member or a friend who's able to kind of back up your story and say, look, this is what we've noticed. We need someone to pay attention to what we're saying. We'll also suggest geriatric assessment clinics, going to a neurologist, someone who specializes in this type of work. Even though we love our regular doctors, it's always nice to go to a specialist who can give you kind of concrete information about what's been going on.
And that's important because, as you said, some of these programs require a doctor's diagnosis or at least an acknowledgement of dementia. So he or she cannot just kind of casually pass it off as natural aging. It may be natural aging, but it still has consequences, and the family needs help.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. Do you work with doctors at all? Does the
So
Alzheimer's Association work with doctors?
So that's something that we're always trying to do is to get more connected to the doctor's offices. We do have a program with Henry Ford Hospital. We have 2 social workers who are on site throughout the week. So after someone gets a diagnosis from their neurologist, they'll immediately meet with one of our social workers. And they'll kind of talk them through it, give them some education, provide support, and then refer them to other programs. So we get a lot of referrals from the doctors at Henry Ford for this program.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful.
Exactly.
So that having that that connection and that mutual referral process is really good too. What's going on in other Alzheimer's chapters around the state and the country? Are there many similar programs that you know of?
Yeah, so even just in the state of Michigan, we have 2 chapters. Ours is the Greater Michigan chapter, but there's also the Great Lakes chapter that serves Washington County, Monroe County, St. Joseph County. And so they do similar work. I think every place that you can call and ask questions, they have the support groups, they have education programs, they have care consultation services. So even if you go in different states, there's always going to be there's a chapter in every state. So wherever you go, there's going to be someone that you can call from the Alzheimer's Association to ask questions, to ask for help, and to get the support that you need.
And that's all you need is that 800 number.
Yep, because the 1-800 number will connect you to any area. So if you are calling from North Carolina, they'll look at your area code and then direct you to the chapter in your local area.
So we've got a few minutes left, Kelly. What I'd like to do is spend it with you actually giving doing some education and giving some advice, as though I can tell you a little bit about my mom and what her situation was. Maybe you can help with that. So I'm remembering she passed 3 years ago. She was 89, good long life, but her dementia kind of kicked in, as we say, after a fall, after an event, which I think is pretty common, right?
It is.
We had noticed probably 3-4 years even before that she started showing symptoms, but like so many people, I think we put our heads in the sand and looked the other way. My father was still alive at the time and doing very well, and he had no dementia, so he kind of covered up.
Yeah.
I'm sure you find that is also. But after the fall, it became more and more apparent that she really needed a lot more help than she had been. So one of the things that she would do is she wanted to eat a lot. And she was not a big woman.
Yeah.
But she wouldn't remember she just had lunch. And she'd say, "What's for lunch?"
Yeah.
How do you handle that? Because I've heard a couple of clients actually talk about that.
Yeah, so depending on the stage the person's in, sometimes if it's, I'm hungry, I need to eat lunch, they don't remember they already ate lunch 5 minutes ago. Sometimes we have families come up with a chart. So they'll check off after they eat breakfast. We'll have the person with the dementia go over and check it off. Oh, I ate lunch today. Or I ate breakfast. And then do something for lunch. Go over to the table. Oh, let's check off that you ate lunch. So that way when the person
and you have them check it off.
them check it off. I'm going to ask the person, oh, well, I'm hungry again. I didn't eat lunch. oh, well, let's look at your chart. Did we already eat today? Oh, but looks like you already checked it off. We'll have to wait till dinner. Or sometimes what we'll say is offer distraction. Oh, I know, we'll eat in a few minutes. Let's go do this for now. Or we have to go fold laundry. We have to go outside and do this. Offer distraction. Sometimes if it's just keeps persistent, they keep saying, I'm hungry, I need to eat, offer them a little snack or have something pre-made. Oh, well, I'll make lunch in a few minutes, but here's a bag of peanuts. Here's a bag of something that you enjoy that's a little bit smaller. It's not going to fill them up. They're not going to keep eating, but it's not going to be like eating a full meal.
Right. I noticed you said, let's do this. You didn't ask. So there's no asking. Do you want to go outside? Do you want to fold laundry? Do you want to take your medicine? That's another
Well, that's because if
key,
you ask anyone, do you want to do this, and you don't want to, you're going to say no.
Right.
And you don't want to force someone to do something when they say no. So you just suggest it. Oh, I'd really like to go outside for a walk before we eat lunch. Let's go for a walk. And they can still say no, but I feel like people are less likely to say no if you're suggesting it and you're offering us, let's go together, let's do this together.
I've actually have a caregiver who turns it around and says, I need help with this.
That's a good one,
Will
too.
you help me fold this laundry? I'm going to go outside and check the mail. Will you come with me? There may be more envelopes to carry, and I might need help with that. So it is that distraction. I understand it's the approach that you use, and as family members, I think we really want to correct their behavior, and that's just not going to work, right?
Yeah.
There's no correcting. It's not like a child, although
Exactly.
it feels like it. It's not like you're teaching or disciplining. You've got to really.
Yeah, we always say try not to correct, try not to disagree or argue, because it's not going to work. And even though sometimes it feels like you're telling a child, oh, we need to do this, we need to do this, they're an adult. They still have their own desires, their own wishes. They still want to have their own autonomy. And so you don't want to treat them like a child. And so you suggest things, and if they don't want to, you try it again later.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. It's a very difficult and sometimes sad, but sometimes it can be pretty enlightening. I know my children have great memories of both grandparents, but it's not uncommon for them to quote a grandmaism and have a really warm chuckle about it. So we do the best we can with what we have. And with the resources like the Alzheimer's Association in our lives, I think we can even take what we do to the next level.
Exactly.
So we encourage our viewers to call and take advantage. So, Kelly, believe it or not, we've come to the end of a half hour. I know. You've been terrific. Thank you so much with your
Thank you so much
with
for
all of
having
your great ideas, and we'll show the phone number here on the screen. And once again, I'd like to thank everyone for viewing. If you have an idea on a future episode for the show, Aging Well in America, please send your ideas here to the Grosse Pointe War Memorial. Thank you.